My name is Matthew Scholz. Make sure to watch MotoAmerica on YouTube. Please like and subscribe.
Here we go. Oh, and a big jump from the middle from
Hayden Gillum.
Hayden Gillum.
Oh, man. Kyle Wyman, and it looked like one of the other Indians got together right off the start. I'm trying to figure out who that might have been, but Rispoli's found himself up into third with Gillum second and Tyler O'Hara leading the way.
A lot of Minnesota pride on the line for Indian Motorcycles. They'll get a part on the racetrack. You can see right part of your screen. That might be part of one of the bags on these baggers. So the number one, Tyler O'Hara. There was an event earlier today, Jason, a 3-lap affair. Let's take a look at the start before we get into all of that. You can see the middle, Hayden Gillum trying to find some traction there.
Yeah, and it looks like Kyle gets over to the left of him, or gets over, and then it looks like, oh, it's Rispoli and Wyman that connect with each other. So Kyle kind of took evasive action to get away from Gillum, put him in a little bit of the path of Rispoli.
Overhead shots from our Lucas Oil helicopter of our leaders. So now we have Factory Indian against a couple of privateer Vance & Hines Mission Harley-Davidson road glides of Hayden Gillum, who's doing triple duty this weekend. Jason, is Hayden Gillum?
Yeah, he's riding a lot. He's getting a lot of laps around this Brainerd race course. As you can see, Tyler O'Hara out front, and oh man, Bobby Fong gets right up in behind. Was it Onsorg that he was up behind there?
Might have been number 5, Kyle Onsorg. Yeah. Certainly did. And that was $5,000 for him. Let's welcome the third member of our team, Hannah Lopa, into the mix.
It looks like Jeremy McWilliams is having a problem here, but I wanted to add on Hayden Gillum. You know, you mentioned Hayden's running triple duty here this weekend. He's got 6 races plus that challenge race, and I asked him, you know, how do you kind of prepare for that?
As we're looking at Onsorg in 5th, Kyle Wyman in 6th, Corey West in the mix on the 13 as well.
Wyman made the pass there on the exit of the chicane. Looked like Onsorg maybe either missed a gear or just didn't get out of there as nicely as he needed to. He's closed up just by a couple tenths. The first one he didn't, but it looks it's going to be difficult for him. There's no question about that, especially as hard as he's having to ride to catch these two up in front. But again, as you and I both know, if these two guys start to get together at all, it looks like Gillum is really closing the gap on O'Hara. I expect him to try to maybe do something down in turn 3 this lap. This is as close as we've seen him. You can see Fong just off the back of there, but O'Hara strong through turn 2. Gillum trying his best to move up to the back of him, but Gillum looks like he's gathered himself a little bit here, had some pace. At the beginning, it looked like O'Hara was going to pull away ever so slightly, and Gillum just hasn't let that happen.
Through that really fast section, through the overhead shots between turns 1 and 2, it looked like it. Here comes Hayden Gillum.
Oh, O'Hara's
got a big problem.
Big problem for O'Hara as he rides the bike off the track.
Wow, so just like that for Tyler O'Hara, and he ends up having to get off the motorcycle.
I wonder what happened there.
Gillum to avoid disaster. See if we can see it.
I don't see any smoke. Obviously the bike loses power, but it's like he's not really getting a lot of braking done before the bike rolls off the track, and it just tips over in the grass there before he got to the tire wall.
And of course that's not going to be comfortable for Bobby Fong, even if he had the pace to close the gap. I mean, I don't know if that was an incident where he just ran off and it was a big puff of like dirt.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, Bobby's definitely kept his distance though, hasn't he? I mean, he was closing in at a pretty rapid rate, and he's just sort of kept his distance. So, and as a rider, you want to get up alongside the guy and tell him if there is an actual problem on the bike. But so far, it doesn't look like there's been anything really bad happening with Gillum here.
I think that might have been a case where he just kind of maybe touched the dirt.
Could have been.
There's a big puff of dirt behind him. Doesn't seem like he's got any real movement in the rear end of the bike on this final lap. And he was able to go 136 flat last time around, and a 135.5 was the best lap for Hayden Gillum.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
For Bobby Fong, definitely his charge toward the front has stalled out. Rispoli with 4 seconds over Kyle Wyman, who just went his fastest lap of the race at a 136. Then Corey West in 5th. Jake Lewis has gotten around Onsorg for 6th. Travis Wyman in 8th, and Danny Eslick in 9th. So here we go. Let's see, right there, it just looks like, I'm not really sure, maybe it's some debris from the tire coming up or whatever, but it looks like he's fine. The bike's running just fine. There's the 79 of Hayden Gillum on the Vance & Hines Mission Harley-Davidson on that road glide. Had a fine race, with an early exit from Tyler O'Hara. And towards the checkered flag, and it'll be Hayden Gillum who takes victory here at Mission King of the Baggers. Race number 1, Bobby Fong home in second. And here comes James Rispoli to take third. And another podium for Rispoli and Kyle Wyman after the Rispoli-Wyman incident earlier on in the race, able to hold on to 4th place. Here are your results as Hayden Gillum wins 2.5 seconds over Fong and Rispoli, who finishes with about a bag and a half. And Kyle Wyman in 4th, Corey West, Lewis, Onsorg, Travis Wyman, and Danny Essick rounding out your top 9.